To order. Thursday, September 27th, 6:21 p.m. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
And if we could, during our moment of silence, remember Elaine Orizio, who just passed away suddenly in our district, one of our, so thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Mr. Reba.
Mr. Bonomo?
Here.
Mrs. DeCosmo?
Here.
Mr. Fume?
Here.
Mrs. Kay?
Here.
Mr. Mahalik?
Here.
Mrs. Garcella?
Here.
Mr. Szymanski?
Here.
Mr. Van Hoeklen? And Mr. Zola?
Here.
Okay, I'd like to announce the following executive sessions that were held September 11th regarding negotiations, September 18th, personnel negotiations and potential litigation, and September 27th, personnel and negotiations.
At this time, if everybody looks to their right, we have a new face with us, Caitlin Byler. She'll be our student representative this year, so we're very excited to welcome her to the stage. And then next month, I should say, not next week, next month, she'll provide us some updates from the high school level. So thank you and welcome.
Brian, it's on my left, not on.
With their right, your left.
Well,
To clarify.
Are you not including it?
No, no, none of you are.
Any public announcements or recognition?
No, sir.
Mr. Patty, do you have a recognition?
Bobby.
Oh, I'm sorry. This time, just want to give you an update of how our teams are doing in the fall. Great to hear, because I know sometimes student reps here, so they asked me together. I'd like to take this opportunity to remind everyone that next week our football game versus Borough is our homecoming, and we'd like to thank all our fans, students who support and root for our teams who are presently fighting positions in the playoffs, including boys soccer, girls cross country, boys cross country, football, field hockey, girls volleyball. I'd like to wish next week girls tennis team who started the district playoffs on Wednesday, October 3rd, the best of luck. And also congratulations to our Hazleton Area High School girls golf team who won the district title today. And they have boys who competing tomorrow for the district title, and several individuals from the golf team, both boys and girls, fighting for individual titles at the time.
So I'd like to extend my congratulations to all the teams, and especially the girls golf team that won the District 2 championship today. And their coaches, Mr. Boretsky, Mr. Tunison, and they have a third coach. Or is it just two? Mr. Koval. I'm sorry, Mr. Koval also. So a public comment directed to the board on agenda items only. I'd like to announce that please adding to these items, there's addendums on the back, very last page of the agenda. So we'd like to add those to the agenda. So any comments on any of those items?
No.
Do you want to?
I wrote all over mine. We could run copies.
I guess we could.
Nobody got an agenda.
Is there anyone that
There's,
got an agenda, or no one did?
Oh,
we have
they
a
have
bunch
some.
of
There's
agendas.
not enough to.
Okay,
There weren't enough for him.
does anyone wish to have an agenda at this time? I guess we could run some off.
impossible.
You want to just put the last page up on it?
Yeah, we could put the last page up with the addendums.
Those are the, have the agendas. Were those here available for you, or did you print them off? They were here? Okay, we just didn't have enough copies.
Okay, so also on the agenda, items 24,
Yes.
34, 67B, and 114 will be removed. And as I said, the addendums on the back will be added.
Okay.
So do we have any comment on any items on the agenda?
Dr. Childs.
My name is Robert Childs. I'm a resident of Hazel Township and a citizen of the Hazelton Area School District. Thank you for listening to me this evening. I'd like to speak on the one security item that was on the preliminary agenda. I don't know what number it is on the current agenda. The replacement of one of the policemen with another gentleman, and of course, you're going to be paying that gentleman appropriately. Yeah. What I'm asking you to do is to re-examine your approach to security, and that, of course, includes the money that you lay out for security. Right now, your security system is largely reactive. The schools are packed with security guards, policemen, deans, vice principals. You got all sorts of security people in the schools. The court system is being used heavily, but what actually causes attacks on schools like Columbine or Sandy Hook or Parkland? Anger, frustration, resentment, disillusionment. So how does this apply to the Hazelton Area School District? How can we become proactive? Number one is you can begin to go more strongly after the bullying situation. It's not being handled well at this point in time. During August of this year, I had 5 families who had decided to try cybersschooling this year. 4 of the 5 were because of bullying. 2 of the 5 were from the Valley School. And none of the 5 was going to be using the Hazleton Area Virtual Academy. Number 2 on the list is the number of citations. 350 citations last year. That's nuts. Okay, the school district doesn't have 350 criminal kids in our district, and that's just wrong. There are some real bad ones, and there's no question about it. But to have 350 citations, and many of them, we had one of our patients who's a 6th grader he's an honor student, pushing his friend in the cafeteria line, ended up in front of the judge. Now, the amount of resentment that breeds is incredible. You can understand that the community doesn't handle this type of thing very well. Now, the most recent travesty is the failure to bus students to Heights Terrace, and that's really out of line, because this is some of the most dangerous territory in our district. It's also not well kept up, okay, as far as the road crews are concerned and so forth. You've got kindergarten kids walking 1.2 miles to school at this point in time. Now, you know, can you imagine the anger that's going to happen if any of these kids gets molested, damaged in any way, shape, or form? And again, I would point out that when you say we don't have the money, okay, that flies in the face of what you're doing with regards to hiring friends and relatives as deans. That just doesn't stand up. It just doesn't stand up to inspection. And the resentment level out here in the community is high.
Thank you, Dr. Childs.
Maximo.
Anyone else?
I'd like to just comment on that. Dr. Childs, I know you and I went around and around 15 years ago when I was in charge of security for the district in relatively the same complaints. And it just so happened that I printed out for Mrs. DeCosmo tonight, Beyond Zero Tolerance, okay? And it's a report done by the ACLU on school districts in Pennsylvania. And in this, there's graphs of schools, the school districts in Pennsylvania. Here's one, for instance, racial suspension gap. Greatest black-white racial gaps, Hispanic. Hazleton doesn't make any of them. I mean, there's Wilkes-Barre's on it. I'll go through the list. Pottsville Area School District is the highest. York City, Pittsburgh, Erie, West Mifflin, Williamsport, Wayne, Upper Darby, Allentown. Hazleton does not make the list. For students that were arrested, Hazleton doesn't make the list again. I'm just saying, I realize, and I know your concerns are from the heart, and I'm not knocking you for it, but statistics are here. Chief Harry, we went through this last year with the district attorney from Luzerne County, as well as some of the local magistrates, and they went item by item through all of our citations issued, our arrests made, and Hazleton Area School District is well within the guidelines. So I'm not sure where that comes from, but I mean, this is on the internet. It's beyond zero tolerance. You could look it up. The ACLU. State reports. Yeah. Well, yes, they'll tell you how many right in this report each school district is issuing. We're a very large school district. And they made the list. Yeah, well, actually, when you look at the list, you'll see that the citation numbers are much higher. And that's what I'm saying, I know it seems like, when patients come into your office and they're talking to you, and they're relating stories that their children come home and talk about. And listen, I realize we have some issues. We have definitely some issues and some things, but to knock our security officers, our police officers who are doing a great job, and our teachers and staff who are doing a great job. And I don't know. We could always do better, I guess, but, within budgetary restraints, this is what we have. I do know that we went into depth on some bully programs. Back with Betty Corcoran and Dr. Sharp, we put a lot of effort into bully programs, and to be honest with you, I didn't see a return for the time or the money that went into big programs where, so I think Chief Harry has something to say. But.
I'll address the bullying first, and I'm only going to speak from the standpoint of my department. Any report of bullying that's received by any of my officers gets a thorough investigation, gets a written report, and it's turned into the administrators. Nothing falls on deaf ears with the security department. That's number one. Number two, we all know about the fights every day on Lincoln Street, on Grand Street. Why do you think these kids wait until they get out of school and get up to these streets to fight? Because they know if they fight in school, they're going to get arrested. The last message that I am willing to send to any of these students is that wait until you get in school to do it because we won't arrest you. Okay, don't do it on the street because you're going to get arrested for this, so wait and come into school. I'm not sending that message. It's not fair to the students. It's not fair to the staff. I'm simply not going to do that.
Thank you, Chief. Anyone else?
Maximo.
My name is Maximo Punchiel. I'm coming from High Terrace School. And my big concern is about how come my kid gonna walk to the High Terrace School? Well, that is not.
That's not on the agenda.
Oh,
You could speak at the end of the meeting if it's not an item on the agenda. This is only items that are
about
on
the
the
school
agenda.
bags. How they gonna
Yes.
walk?
Right.
Yes.
How they gonna walk to the school? There is no sidewalk when there's no time comes up.
The problem is, discussion before or is only on agenda item.
So, but my concern is, sorry, I didn't know about it, but that's why I signed up. How the kid, I want somebody explain me when there's no time comes up, how the kid gonna walk to High Terrace School? Well, there is not sidewalk. Do they walk?
You'd have to.
Yeah, there'll
You-
be, there'll be a
address
time at the end of the meeting
You
that
may
you could address.
speak,
After we're done
you
with
may speak at the end of the
anybody can
meeting.
get up.
Oh,
This
sorry,
is
I
on,
didn't know
No, it's
about
fine.
it.
yes,
Okay.
okay?
Okay, thank
That's
you.
fine.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
My concern.
No,
Thank you.
just
That it?
Is that
No?
all? Mr. Bonomo?
That's it.
Second?
Okay.
Thank you.
Need a motion to approve the meeting. Motion by Mr. Bonomo,
Second.
second by Mr. Cosmo. On the question, Mr. Reba.
All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Motion to approve Treasurer's report by Mr. Bonomo. I'll second that. Question, Mr. Reba.
All in favor of the treasurer's report, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Replinger?
Thank you. Under curriculum and instruction on your agenda, approve items 1 through 26,
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo.
removing number 24.
We have a motion by Mr. Bonomo, second by Mr. Zola. On the question, Mr. Reba.
On items 1 through 26, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Mr. Replinger.
Under special education, ESL, alternative education, approve items
Motion.
27 through 31.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo,
Second.
second by Mrs. Scarcella. On the question, Mr. Reba.
Items 27 through 31, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Page 5, English language development, ELD, approve items 32 through 35,
Removing 34.
removing 34.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo,
Second.
second by Mrs. DeCosmo. On the question, Mr. Reba.
Items 32 to 35, excluding 34, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Under nutrition, item 36,
Motion.
approve,
Motion by Mr. Bonomo,
Second.
second by Mrs. DeCosmo. On the question, Mr. Reba.
Number 36, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
transportation, item number 37,
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo,
Second.
second by Mr. Mahalik. On the question, Mr. Reba.
Number 37, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
under technology, approve items 38 and 39 with one motion.
So be.
Motion by Mr. Zola,
Second.
second by Mr. Mahalik. On the question, Mr. Reba.
Numbers 38 and 39, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion
Bobby, is
passes.
Dr. Briggs here? I just want to say that at our last meeting, we discussed some of the issues with computers and that, Valley being one of them, and I understand that you got right on it. They're done. They have them in the class, which means they can go ahead with the curriculum. So appreciate that effort. Thank you.
Good job, Mr. Briggs. Good job.
On page 6, under facilities and capital projects,
I'll
approve
make the
items 40.
motion.
Motion by Mr. Szymanski, second by Mr. Bonomo. On the question, Mr. Reba.
Numbers 40 through 45, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Under security, item 46.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo, second by Mrs. Scarcella. Question, Mr. Reba.
Number 46, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
We want to welcome Tommy Majors back on the department. Good man.
Welcome.
On page 6 and 7, approve items 47
Motion.
through 51.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo and second by Mr. Mahalik on the question. Mr. Reba?
Numbers 47 to 51, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Page 7, finance, approve items 52 through
Motion.
67.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo.
Second.
Second by Mr. Mahalik on the question.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
67B is being removed.
67B, eliminated, or removed. Thank you, Mr. Krasinski.
Mr. Reba?
Numbers 52 through 67A, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Number 68, bills.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo.
Second.
Second by Mrs. DeCosmo on the question. Mr. Reba?
68A through D, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm a no on C and D.
I'm a no on D.
Ayes have it, noting Mr. Bonomo's no vote on D, Mrs. K on C and D, and Mr. Zola on C.
C.
Motion passes.
On the superintendent's agenda, approve items 69 through 72 with
Motion.
one motion.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Bonomo and second by Mr. Mahalik. Question. Mr. Reba?
Numbers 69 through 72, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Page 10, approve items 73 through 86 with one motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo,
Second.
second by Mr. Mahalik on the question. Mr. Reba?
Numbers 73 to 86, all in favor,
Should
say
be
aye.
80, I'm sorry, it should be 85.
I'm sorry, we're
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry, 85.
85.
got a typo.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Replinger?
On page 11, approve items 86 through 97.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo,
Second.
second by Mrs. Scarcella on the question. Mr. Reba?
Numbers 86 through 97, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Please note on the addendum that the names of the individuals for 107 through 109 are listed on that, as well as their salaries. So approve items 98 through 110 with one motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo,
Second.
second by Mrs. Scarcella on the question. Mr. Reba?
Numbers 98 through 110, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
Page 13, approve items 111 through 115,
Motion by Mr. Bonomo,
excluding 114.
excluding
Second.
114. Second by Mr. Mahalik on the question.
113 or
114.
114. Mr. Reba?
Numbers 111 and 115, excluding 114, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
On the addendum, the new motions.
Motion.
Item number 1,
Motion by Mr. Bonomo,
Second.
second by Mrs. DeCosmo on the question. Mr. Reba?
Addendum item number 1, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
item number 2,
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo,
Second.
second by Mrs. DeCosmo on the question. Mr. Reba?
Addendum item number 2, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
item number 3,
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo,
Second.
second by Mrs. Scarcella on the question. Mr. Reba?
Addendum item 3, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Ayes have it, motion passes.
All right, that's it. It's been- anyone from the audience wish to be heard at this time?
Yes, I was saying before, my name is Maximo Puntil. I come from High Terrace School. and my concern is about the suspension of the transportation that they did around the school, because I don't see no sidewalk on the street. And my concern is how my kid gonna walk to school. They're gonna walk in the snow time in the middle of the street, when there be snow on the floor. All the kids around, there is no sidewalk around that school. How the kid can walk through. That's all my concern about. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
The teacher.
My name is Diana DeGilio, and my son goes to Heights Terrace. He's only 10. I live on Birch Street by Church and 309. My son has to walk more than 15 to 10 blocks to school. I had to quit my job because my manager wouldn't change my shift. So my concern is why everyone around that area, I understand you guys are going through a budget cut, but I feel like a lot of kids didn't get taken into consideration because I live very far from the school. And yes, I tried to work around the budget cut and work around not having a bus, but I lost my job because of that. So I have to take my I have to take my son to school every morning and pick him up in the afternoon. Okay, my son is only 10. And yes, we live in Hazleton. It's not like New York because that's where I was born and raised. But we don't know what people move from what state and what bad habits they have. So I can't trust my son walking to school all those blocks by himself in the morning and in the afternoon. Okay.
My name's Alyssa. I have the same issue. I live on Cedar Street. I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. My 5-year-old doesn't go to school because of the cutoff, so whatever. But so now I have to take a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old to walk a 30-minute walk to get to the school because it was considered safe. I spoke to you on the phone, I don't know if you remember. Okay. It's not safe. I have video and pictures of the danger. I yell at people's kids all the time because there's kids who are so small because they're only 5 years old almost getting hit by cars because the car can't see them backing up. It's not safe. Walk it on a crappy day, on a snowy day, on a 90-degree day, during school hours when kids are being walked to school and walked home. It's not safe. There's like 100 kids walking on that sidewalk. We're all stepping on each other. The weather's disgusting. My son's already missed 4 days, one of which he was sick. 3 were because of the weather. It's not safe, and I don't agree with it. You guys didn't even involve us. You guys seem to just pass. Did you discuss it? Probably not. Would you let any of your 5, 7, 10, 12-year-old kids walk by themselves? Probably not. I live in a household where only one parent works. I have to stay at home because it's too expensive. So it needs to be reversed. Even if it's just for the winter months, I would even love that. We're supposed to have an extremely cold winter, and our kids have to walk that. I don't think so. My son's gonna miss a lot of days. One of you want to pay that fine I'm gonna get because he's already missed 4? No, didn't think so. My kid needs his bus. I don't understand how you guys think. Okay, there's child molesters out there. There's people who drive like crap that are gonna hit these kids. I can't wait to see what's gonna happen the first day there's an early dismissal because that parking lot is already shit. Sorry, excuse me, but it's the truth. There's only 2 security guards up there. There's only 3 crossing guards on Poplar Street. These kids need to be seen from their house to the school. It's not safe. I don't agree with it. I have to get up, walk with my kids. If my little one is sick, guess what? Big brother can't go to school because I'm not walking with a sick child. Unless one of you want to buy me a car, to go for it. But I can't afford to buy myself another car. We already only have one, and it's not safe. Walk it. Walk it. Walk it on a shit day, walk it on a winter day, walk it on a summer day, walk it on an early dismissal, walk it on a 2-hour delay. You're not going to want to do it. None of you. Not one of you will do it. But we have to do it because why? The budget cut? Not fair. Excuse me. But that's all I need to say. Thank you.
What we did, and I appreciate everyone's comment. Please, thank you very much for that. What we did was took a comprehensive look at all the other buildings across the district that do not have transportation, or if you will, that are in a walk zone. We have 13 school buildings across the district. 10 of them, including Heights, is one of those schools that are within that walk zone or that have created a safe walk zone. the district took a comprehensive look at over a 10-year period on the process in creating that safe walk zone. There was $1.5 million that was provided, not to the district, but to that improvement plan in providing sidewalks and providing adjustments to the area in order to make it a safe walk zone. So we don't take those types of things very lightly. They're all of our students. We love them all. Please know that, and I continue to say that, and will always say that. We did take, like I said, we took that comprehensive look at all of the sites across the district that are considered walk zones. Heights Terrace isn't any different than any of the others. You have that available, Mr. Krasinski, just to kind of show and give everyone a visual of what we're talking about. Yeah, if you could go down to the maps, we'll take a look at that, and I can talk about the chart. Let's look at Heights first, since it looks like it's within this area. These are all the walkers. This is the area that was designated a walk zone, a safe walk zone. And again, that was provided to us by the state. The state came in and did a comprehensive plan, for lack of a better term, on the area. And all of this outlined area is where the walkers are coming from. Right in the middle.
These meetings are all on the website and they are all in the paper. The meetings
They're all publicized.
They're all publicized. The meetings are all publicized.
If we look at Freeland, looks like it's highlighted there. 7th and 8th graders, 6th. This is for our K to 6 students in Freeland. This is the walk zone. It's basically the same distance that Heights Terrace is seeing. They're walking for the same amount of mileage, if you will, from the center of the walk zone. You're taking a look at West Hazleton.
There are no sidewalks around Heights Terrace, is that what you're saying?
Certain areas.
Are you talking about by the Armory? Is that what you're talking, Samuels Avenue by the Armory?
Yeah, we want to go the same street when we get out of the high school.
Right.
Going to the south street,
Samuels Avenue.
sidewalks. How long are they going to walk on the winter time? You see, they walk in the middle of the street. All the kids walk in the middle of the street. Either they walk on the grass or they walk in the middle of the street. How are they going to walk on the street on the snow day? In the middle of the street?
Take a look.
We can take a look at that. Anyone else wish to be heard?
We put a walkway there.
Oh.
mean, you're showing us the maps. And I'm trying not to talk because I don't want to. But it's not only our area we're fighting for. Like, no matter if it's Freeland, like, even Freeland and West Hazelton, that's an area too big for our little kids to be walking by themselves.
Would you put up at one of your, any of you have a children, probably would you send your 5-year-old to walk by themselves? Would you in this area? No?
But-
Ma'am?
but-
I didn't
but
say
that's
yes or
not-
no.
That's not to say
Yeah.
that we wouldn't make sure that someone was able to walk them. I mean, well, I realize that it's difficult, but, you know, there comes a point though at some place where you have to start, maybe getting together with some of the
So you
neighbors.
could do
to see who-
carpooling.
You know, exactly. I mean, get together with some of the neighbors. One day, one person walks the group, the next day another person.
Turn it into a free for
But if there are other people in the area, you can also make arrangements where one person may walk some of the children and another does. You don't talk to any of your neighbors?
Predators or whatever, and I'm just handing them over to my neighbors. I mean, I see them every day, and I say hi every day, but it's not like you actually know what's going on in their life to be able to trust them with my child.
Has anyone looked into the Hazleton public transportation offer?
Just going to say that.
You want to make the presentation?
I mean, here's
We talked about it last week.
I mean,
Yeah, I can talk about it like, something that we had mentioned last week as well, the HPT was providing the availability for students in that area to ride the bus for $20 a month. Yes.
Yes.
So that would be provided by Hazleton Public Transit. They're willing, you know, again, that's 50 cents a student per day. That, depending on where the routes are, and we don't have those finalized yet, and it certainly isn't something that the district is providing. It's something that the transit would be providing as an availability to you or to the people in the Heights Terrace area. That was talked about last week and provided, and we wanted to make sure that you were aware of that again this week.
Because I see them very medium.
Right, and what they may do is reroute to be able to come through the middle of the walk zone, or, you know, we're just finalizing what they would be able to do for us. Well, it's not free busing.
Well, you guys take taxes, you take taxes.
Correct, it's not free busing. Something to keep in mind, and I'm not disputing you, but something to keep in mind, transportation isn't a right, it is a privilege. Under the school code, we don't even have to provide transportation at all. We don't have to provide kindergarten at all. But we do because we're supporting our students and the well-being of them to be productive individuals once they leave our homes as a school district. Transportation is not something
There
that
are districts that
is
don't provide
required.
any transportation.
That's correct.
And that's not us, I mean, but
Not in specific areas, it hasn't. This is just another step in the direction of trying to save some dollars. And so everybody's aware, the law states that for elementary students, it's 1.5 miles to walk to the school, and for secondary students, it's 2 miles. So within that boundary, that's where we are.
Okay, there's several issues that I have. One of them is the busing issue. I have a grandson in the high school, and he's 2.1 miles away from high school. And if you know teenagers, they don't like to go to, most of them don't like to go to school. I'm lucky I have a grandson that does. That's another issue. The main issue I would like to deal with is that it would really be beneficial if when we called your administrative office, we got a call back. Or if we come into your administrative office, The people that work there are not condescending, they're not nasty, because that's what we have run into in my family. And it's really, if you're supposed to be there to help us, help us. Don't be nasty, don't be condescending. It doesn't help us. I have called the school, I have called the administration twice for two different things. I've not gotten a call back from any of the, I wanted to call for the, for my son, my grandson is ADHD. I called for him. I called twice to ask them where to start a certain process, have not gotten a call back. When my grandson was, when my daughter moved, when she moved, I called to find out exactly what school she would be going to. I called twice, never got an answer. By the time she got in to get him situated for school, he had to go to his old school for a week. Then he was switched to the other school, and it's not because my daughter was late. My daughter had everything that she needed. It's because when I called them the first 2 times, nobody ever got back to us. By the time they did, he had to go to school, to the other school for a week, and then he went to the new school. I mean, if the administration is supposed to be there to help us, then help us. Don't be condescending. Don't be nasty. When we call you, please call us back.
Right.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. There has to be some accountability somewhere, because I'm not the only person that complains about the attitude and the nastiness of your administration when you come through that first window.
That shouldn't be.
It's just not right.
And I appreciate that very much. Have you called me?
No.
Okay, please do. When you have, we're certainly going to work on those issues that you brought up, and I appreciate that very much, because if I don't know, I can't fix it. So it's important for me to know. Call me. Send me an email, whatever. I'll get back to you.
And your name is?
Brian Uplinger, Superintendent.
Uplinger.
Yep.
May we have your name for the minutes also? You didn't say.
I'm sorry, Sharon Jones. I'm the grandmother. I live in New York, by the way, and this is how important this is to me.
Welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
But thank you. Again, I appreciate you giving us that information.
And you know what, I'm sorry if you were treated that way. No one should be treated that way, and I apologize. And I hope that would not happen again, because that
Yes.
should never be in the district.
Thank you.
Absolutely, and we're going to make sure that's looked into.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I
Mr.
appreciate
Upling, I will take you up on,
Yes,
I will take you
absolutely.
up.
Please call me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Would anybody in the Heights area that are speaking about these bus issues be interested in this public transit? Would you be willing to listen to the transportation director to see what they have to offer? Would anybody interested with a meeting with him or not? For that, nobody would be interested in public transportation to the school? That you could at least listen to what they have to offer?
We'll have the brochures here, we can hand them out, and they can call and talk to them, or they could have a meeting.
They're also in the office
Yes.
at Heights Terrace.
Okay. Do we have a, are we finished? We have a motion to adjourn?
I just want to say about Elaine Orderies, our security cafeteria guard that passed away, at work, you know, and dedicated, came to work and did not go home that night. 18 years ago, I hired Elaine. She started with the school district as a cafeteria guard and just did an amazing job. She was the type of person that no one ever had an argument with. The kids loved her. They looked up to her. And I tell you the truth, I was shocked when I got the email that she had collapsed in the cafeteria. I just want to wish, you know, her family the strength to, you know, go through this. And, you know, they're the kind of people we have. We have a lot of dedicated people in the district. And she could have been home that day, but she chose to come to work. So.
Thank you, Mr. Zola. And condolences to the family.
Yes.
Mr. Barletta, did you have something before we adjourn?
A lot of the board members have asked during the interview process. This is Mr. Bob Bertoni, who we recommended as the softball coach, and he was approved by the board tonight. So I just wanted to introduce him to the board, since I don't think anybody in the board has ever met him.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Best of luck.
Good luck.
I'm excited to thank you for your vote of confidence.
Good luck. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
On that note, before we adjourn, do we have any other new employees with us this evening in the audience? If we do, please stand up so we can recognize you.
Good luck. And we have a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Motion by Mr. Bonomo.
Second.
Second by Mrs. DeCosmo.
All right, bud.